Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to cut that off. That's too many. Um, I'm gonna do a tarot card reading for Gemini energy. And like usual on this channel, we're gonna do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Gemini, the bottom row a more worldly, shadowy Gemini, because we've all got free will and we kind of debate within ourselves. We might want to move forward in life a little differently, but the bottom row can just represent our comfort zone, and we kind of like to stay in our comfort zone. We'd like the things that we have invested time, energy, and effort to work out the way we want. And the bottom row can also represent kind of wanting to stay in denial of the truth. Because to move forward in life differently, we might have to let go of some old things and ways of living life or viewing life, and that can be scary. And so some people aren't going to move forward, but other people sometimes, I don't know, something about it, you just can't keep living your life the way you were. And part of high vibe energy is listening to your intuition, facing your fears, offering yourself love and encouragement to, I think our intuition was given to us as a gift to um, help us navigate in this world, to kind of let us know that this phase is over and it's time to move forward in life a little differently. So there could be some people moving forward a little differently. There might be some people in their life that or ways of being or thinking that they've kind of left behind. Um, just like we have our dualistic nature, other people have their free will and their dualistic nature. Some of those people are battling within themselves. We've all probably got people in our life that are more authentic and loving and independent and encouraging. And we all might have some people in our life who might be a little more manipulative, codependent, don't want us to free ourselves from things that manipulate us because they haven't freed themselves from things that manipulate them. And, you know, it's kind of like viewing life at different stages of how you view life. And we kind of don't view life a certain way anymore. We kind of don't live our life that way anymore. And we're probably not going to hang out and do some of the same things or hang out with some of the same people or stay in certain jobs that we used to stay in, right? So this might be something that particularly Gemini energy at large might be dealing with right now. And so then it might more affect people who are a Gemini sun sign or have significant Gemini placements. But we've all got free will. Gemini has to do about what our truth is and what we love, which can be more about ourselves or the world or hope and faith and belief in love. And therefore it affects us all. So listen to your intuition if you see yourself in the story, and listen to your intuition about other people in your life, about what their truth is and kind of what drives and motivates them and what they love. So the reason for the bottom rose reading is the birds card, which is Sagittarius energy, fire sign energy, which can be about that, we all go on these journeys in life to learn these lessons. And some people might still have some lessons to learn that some other people have already learned. We've all got our more worldly nature, which again can be fear, insecurity, pride, ego, laziness, want reward without effort, would like everything our way, maybe bossy, controlling, prideful, narcissistic, whatever, the list goes on. Some people during their life, down here we start with the child card, and then we have the Sith card, which is kind of like the death card in tarot, where you kind of put an end to your more immature ways of being to be inspired. And then in the top row, the reason for the reading is the house card, which says Taurus on it, but also reminds me of the Four of Wands, which is Aries energy. Taurus can have to do with our philosophy of life, and Aries has to do with ourself. Do we want to keep... No, 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 I don't want to move forward in life ever any differently. I want to keep indulging my more immature nature, and some people do. I'm not inspired within myself to grow and heal and mature myself. Some people are kind of codependent, is what the child card can talk about. where they think, well, I don't have to do that work within myself to heal or grow or mature myself or love myself. They could think, I just go indulge, maybe. Sagittarius can be, and shadowy energy can be all these things that we go indulge in to make ourselves feel better because we think that's the answer. And we could make it being more about ourselves, uh, having a certain status or image in the world, getting in a relationship. Some people's vice is drugs or alcohol. Some people's vice is I go get in a relationship. That's what I use to try to make me feel better or think that that'll be the answer. In the Sith card, it reminds me of the Death card in regular tarot, but the card says Libra, and Libra, like Gemini, is air sign energy. And it has, represented by the scales of justice, that has to do with what we think is just and fair. And, again, we've all been more immature when we were at that phase of life. That's how we viewed life. That's how we thought and processed life. And was it just and fair for us to live our life at that phase of life? Yes, because that was the phase of life we're at. And we might know some people, they might be the same age as us, but they could still be quite immature, codependent, full of themselves, whatever. Kinda is it just and fair for them to be at that stage of life? Yeah, if that's the stage of life they're at. Because the truth sets us free to live our life differently. And some people don't even want to be just and fair. And the death card also talks about shedding an old way of living life or viewing life and seeing what are kind of some things we should maybe let go of and what are the good building blocks to take with us. And some people are happy living their life the way they live it, and they have the free will to live their life any way they want. There's just consequences that come with kind of continuing to stay maybe more immature, more codependent, more about themselves, and all these different ways that they live life that they rationalize that they think is just and fair. And they're going to go on this journey in life to go find other people who agree with them and live their life that way. And we can get in relationships with people. Up in the top row, we have the Bear card, which, like the House card, says Taurus energy. And again, Taurus energy can have to do with our philosophy of life. Some people are looking, the Bear card in other decks can kind of refer to loving energy. And we've all been more codependent, where we hadn't learned to love ourselves. And Libra energy, we haven't learned to be inspired to offer love to ourselves. Aries energy is about the self, because we're kind of going through life and initially we don't even realize that kind of how important that is. And we want to be in friendships and relationships with other people. The House card talks about coming together with other people. And we're all inspired in the world to want to be in friendship and relationship with people. Is that just and fair? Yes, that's just and fair. But sometimes, we're looking outside of ourselves, being in more codependent energy for other people to love us and nurture us, make us feel more stable and balanced, like us, love us. And sometimes we can get in relationships with people who are loving and nurturing, but we could have had some growing up to do, and we could have gotten in relationships. We've all been kind of the more immature person. Like when we were growing up, we could have had some loving, supportive people in our life, wishing we would cut out with the kind of this being like the death card, put an end to some of our more immature behavior and love ourselves. And then we have the long road, which kind of reminds me of Virgo energy of putting in work and effort to grow and heal and mature ourselves. And then the poverty card, also, I view it as Five of Pentacles, which is Taurus energy. detaching from an old way of living life, kind of grow up and heal and mature ourselves, and detach from some of that old ways of being and some of those things we might love that really aren't moving our life forward in maybe Virgo and Taurus, our earth sign energy. So that can be about stability and security and knowing our worth and value and appreciating ourselves and loving ourselves and kind of taking over that role of like our parents in our life and other people in our life who can be loving and encouraging and supportive, but learning to within ourself be inspired to love ourself. We love our own shadowy nature. That within ourself we are inspired that I have to learn to love myself. Can I have loving and encouraging people in my life? Yeah, that's great and that's good. But I don't maybe want to be a more codependent energy, and then if they're not in my life, then it could throw me all out of balance, and then I might take more immature action in my life because I don't know how to love myself to maintain balance within myself. And Sagittarius energy is also represented by the Eight of Wands, about moving forward and having good boundaries to ourself and other people. And we could go keep repeating an old pattern thinking something else is the answer or someone else is the answer instead of being inspired within ourselves to love ourselves and put in this work and effort to get more balance within ourselves. But when we do, that's when we have the gift card here. We've kind of learned this lesson that, you know, feeling loved within ourselves and inspired within ourselves actually starts within us. And that's when, in the ending card up here, similar to this one, is like the death card. It kind of transforms our whole life. It transforms how we think about ourselves, how we feel about ourselves. If we used to be more immature because we put in this work and effort to love and believe in ourselves and are inspired, fire sign energy about being inspired to not want to repeat some old patterns. Another way this could be viewed is, again, the bottom row can represent that we're repeating certain patterns, and we'll repeat certain patterns until we kind of learn the lesson we were meant to learn from it. And sometimes some people are very loving and nurturing people and very encouraging to other people, like, and like to play that role in people's life. And sometimes we can get in these more imbalanced relationship. One person is more motivated and inspired within themselves to put in work and effort to have good boundaries to their more shadowy energy of being more about themselves or something like that, and to actually align with their more hopeful, believing, loving nature. But then they can go get in relationships with people who they could even see when they get in a relationship with them that that's not their truth. And again, Gemini energy is kind of about what our truth is. Is it good to offer love and encouragement to people and work together with people? Yeah. But we have to see the truth that they have to be inspired within themselves to kind of put in work and effort to align with their more hopeful, believing, loving nature, being inspired to want to change, to want to heal, to want to grow, to work through some of their more immature ways of viewing life or relationships or being more about themselves, or, because some of the shadowy people are looking for someone to come in their life and kind of indulge them like a parent would a child. And that's their idea of the dream life. Yeah, I want to be in a relationship with you. Let's move forward in a relationship. This is great. You be more you. You maintain more balance within yourself. I'm glad that you kind of put an end to indulging your more immature nature. I'm glad you got more balance within yourself and you are inspired to love and believe in yourself, to be more inspired, to be a more just, fair, loving, balanced person. I want to be in a relationship with you. That's great. You're not going to act like me, right? You're not going to be more immature. You're not going to be more about yourself. You're not going to act in these more immature ways of being and think that's just and fair, right? Because I want to be that person in the relationship. Sometimes we don't realize that till later, that that is kind of the truth about some of the people we've been in relationships, and we could even work for people who are like that. The house card can be that we come together with people in the world, and generally if people are more immature, bossy, controlling, intimidating, full of themselves, they're not going to tell you that. They're going to try to present themselves as a more stable, grounded, just, fair, mature person, right? And so we take those jobs we get in those friendships we get in those relationships, and we're putting in work and effort to move it forward. And then as we're trying to move it forward, the poverty card can be that, you know, and the Libra energy represented by the King of Swords, everybody kind of has their truth of, and the Five of Pentacles can be you're trying to move a foundation forward, having a certain truth, and you kind of realize that your truth is different. And again, kind of how they want to move forward, kind of what drives and motivates them to want to be in it, to keep moving forward in it. And the reason you want to be in it and the reason you want to keep moving forward in it is different. Theirs could be, you know, Virgo and Taurus energy. This is good. It helps me feel more balanced and stable within myself. I'm in a relationship with someone who's loving and encouraging. It could be good for my ego and my image. Oh my gosh, this seems like a dream come true or a gift that, you know, now I'm not just trying to maintain balance within myself, but is it really motivated and inspired by love? Or is it for those other reasons? And you try to move forward in a relationship, and one person could be offering more of these things from the world, like, well, I'm in a relationship with you. That should be good. Or I'm attractive, or I'm charming, or I have money or status or power, or I'll have sex with you. Whatever they think it is that in their more worldly nature they have to offer to you, that you should let them keep moving forward with you. But in the death card here, you can't really come together in joy and celebration with them if it's not, inspired by love, because love is to be just and fair. And you're supposed to treat other people the way you want to be treated. And it's supposed to be from love. And some people are like, well, that's not my truth. I had free will, and I maybe gave up. The child can also represent our more hopeful, believing, loving nature. I decided to detach from that somewhere along the way. And I just decided that I do want to be in relationships. I enjoy being in relationships. But maybe I think I can live more from my mind than my heart. And, you know, if I present myself as a loving and encouraging person, and I kind of treat people in a just and fair way, and I kind of enjoy the relationship, they enjoy the relationship, we can move forward in it. But the problem is, if they are operating from their more worldly, egoic nature, it is kind of like, and I view the King of Swords as a person's self protective nature. their self-protective or their egoic nature is kind of running their life. It's like their authentic nature could watch through the eyeballs, but they never let their more hopeful, believing nature out to play in the world because they get hurt out there. Nope, you can't go out there. We get hurt. I'm going to run our life, male or female. And I think we can create an illusion that we're more motivated and inspired by love, but not really authentically do love. And then the people who are moving forward with them in a relationship, the poverty card of the Five of Pentacles, can be the kind of people feel a little left out in the cold in the relationship. In a more worldly sense, it might have a lot of these things of the world that we want, but true abundance is like the Ten of Pentacles. But some people, and that would be like more high vibe Virgo energy. But in the Five of Pentacles, some people are like, well, no, I don't want to kind of align with my more hopeful, believing, loving nature. I get hurt doing that. So I want to move forward with you, but I want to just operate from my more worldly view of life. Can they enjoy being in a relationship? That's fire sign energy. Sure. Indulge themselves in it sexually and all that good stuff, and can enjoy a lot of things about it. Can be kind of loving and nurturing and supportive to people, but if they're not authentically willing to be authentically themselves, the people who they are in relationship are offering them truth and love, and they're being authentic, and their inner child nature feels it might have some of these things of the world that I want, but it's missing the other part, which is, and that's high vibe Four of Wands, coming together with people where people are firing on all four cylinders. And with this card reminding me of Aries energy, which anyone can harness high vibe Aries energy. You know, in tarot, we talk about the four elements that we have to work with: our heart, our mind, our 3D world, and our creative, inspired, passionate, intuitive nature. That's like firing on all four cylinders, realizing that all four of them, we have all four of them, and they're all equally important. But, you know, kind of when we're younger, we might make other aspects of our life, like we can make the world more important, we can make our ego more important, we can make our lust or our greed or living more from our mind than our heart. We can make, you know, where it's not really equally maintaining balance, that all of these things are important. I can get in relationships where I don't have passion for someone. Well, that can feel like being in a dead relationship that you're just kind of indulging in, or being at a job that doesn't motivate and inspire you, but because it looks just and fair and has the stability and security, you stay in it. You can get in a relationship and really love the people, but there is no, one of the people kind of has a problem with maybe being inspired to put in work and effort for part of the stability and the security. They're all four equally important. So let's see, what's this say? It says the fifth house. Let's see. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leo. Trying to find my little piece of paper that I have because I don't know my houses. Where is that? Leo can be that we're operating more from our ego than being more authentic and inspired to be more authentically ourselves. And some people, you know, when some people want to be in a relationship where they can kind of keep, well, they don't want to grow, heal, or mature, don't want to see the truth of why they maybe don't have hope and faith and belief in love, or it might be issues from their past. Some people aren't ready to move forward yet because they still have issues from their past that they haven't worked through. And if we don't kind of see how though some things, kind of look, Virgo can talk about doing this work within ourselves about, why do I feel this way? Why do I think this way? Why do I act that way? Why don't I love and believe in myself? Why do I feel so out of balance? Why am I so codependent? Why am I looking to other people to validate my worth and value? Why don't I validate my worth and value? And until we kind of work through those issues, we will kind of be, I think, drawn and attracted to people who are the right person to make us confront those issues, because those people that we could get in a relationship with um, might have some of the same traits and characteristics of some people from our past that we had love for. And maybe those people had some ways of being about them that we didn't feel we got justice in. And so then sometimes when we see other people that have those traits and characteristics, like, well, now this isn't my mom or my dad or my brother or my sister or some of those people that I experienced in a younger stage of life. This is someone who I think I could get in a relationship with. And when they see that I am this just, fair, and authentic and loving person, they'll they'll change, basically, because we can get in relationships with, again, with people that we see are not really kind of on the same page. Like, they could be more defensive, they could be more superficial or shallow, they could be more immature, but we are like, oh no, they're gonna change. In the death card, like, we think, oh no, they're gonna change. Now I kind of am repeating that pattern with someone who has some of those same traits and characteristics. And odds are, generally people don't change. If they wanted to be a different type of person in their free will nature and were motivated and inspired to be a different type of person than they are, they would already be that type of person. And just like if we were to get in a relationship with someone and someone's like, well, you don't do this and you don't do that, and I want you to go do these things, and I want you to maybe act that way and act this way and react this way, and it's not who we are. If that was the truth of who we are, we would already be acting and reacting that way. So we go on these journeys to help us get clear about kind of what our truth is and our truth isn't. And there can be people that, whether they're our adult children, friends, family, whoever, that we could have love for and we could have wanted to move forward with them further in our life. But the truth is, how we want to move forward, and again, we could have went through a phase of life where we both could have been loving and nurturing and encouraging to each other, but then kind of maybe once we get more balanced within ourselves, because again, we can be drawn and attracted and get in relationships with people for different reasons. We could both, again, be looking for people to be loving and encouraging, and could have been loving and encouraging to each other. And could we have all learned some lessons along the way? Yeah. But then there can come a time about, kind of what our long-term goals are, is kind of what Virgo energy talks about. Well, this is kind of really my truth, and kind of what more drives and motivates me. Is like, really? Because this is kind of my truth and really what more drives and motivates me. And, one person can be more inspired to get to a stage in a relationship where, I'm ready to move to the next stage of life, face my fears. I kind of, there's some ways of behaving or interacting or viewing life that I just kind of don't feel those things are things I want to keep investing time, energy, and effort into. And I'm kind of ready to detach from that, become high vibe energies about becoming independent of it. And I'm ready. The Five of Pentacles can talk about there was a Four of Pentacles foundation and a way of living life and viewing life. And it could just be in fire sign energy that we were just more caught up in the world and things of the world that we wanted to go indulge in or make our life about. And then some people are kind of, I'm kind of ready to move forward a little differently. Those things don't kind of motivate and inspire me the way they used to, or it's just maybe I already put in work and effort to have some of those things in my life. And now it's kind of, to go on this journey of Scorpio energy referenced both times here, can talk about exploring the mysteries of life, about ourself emotionally, about, we are these emotionally complex human beings, and um, kind of maybe more just the full experience of life. And again, some people are like, no, I don't want to do that emotionally. I don't like to do that. It's kind of like riding the roller coaster of life emotionally a little bit more. It does have a lot highs and it has higher highs and it has higher lows. And some people are like, no, I don't think I can do that. Because when you do that, you know, you're more willing to take risks in your life. And it's knowing that going on this adventure, not everything that you go pursue is going to work out the way that you want, but hopefully, before you, well, we can do that all our life, I guess. If you're a person motivated and inspired by love, you're willing to take those risks that hopefully over the course of our life, we're kind of learning to love and believe in ourselves and be able to pick ourselves back up and kind of maintain balance within ourselves. And that can take practice. The first couple times, it can really drive our life off into the ditch, right? But then we do feel a little more stable and grounded within ourselves, and within ourselves we are able to offer that love to ourselves, to realize when it's time that I need to quit certain behaviors, or being more immature, or indulging someone in poor behavior, indulging myself in poor behavior, if I want to grow to my full potential. Or just kind of keep walking the path, and not kind of staying stuck, repeating an old pattern where it can be because I'm afraid of being more independent, or being more independent and being less codependent. And that can even just be on friends and family, like just like if people went to college or people moved to go get a job, and that's why some people can keep staying where they're at, because it can be hard to go through that period of feeling left out in the cold, where you don't have the normal people around you. But if your intuition is kind of telling you that face your fear, um, you know, it's kind of like, especially if it's more of a relationship where we feel like we did offer people love and encouragement and we were hoping they would move forward with us in that way, and they're not. It definitely can be hard again if there's someone who at one time we viewed as a loving, nurturing, and supportive person in our life, but then as time went by, maybe that wasn't the case anymore. And maybe, because that's what shadowy people can do. It's like, oh, I'll get in the relationship with you, I'll create this illusion about who I am. And then when I think I've kind of got you snagged in, oh, well, then I'm going to kind of push the boundaries and see kind of what I can get away with and how much you'll indulge me. And I don't think I've had people even think that way, but I think shadowy people think that way. And then because that wasn't really the truth of who they were, they want it to be more about them and where they're more indulged in a relationship. And then once they get people in the relationship, because you love me and you want this relationship to work out, I think I can go do these things, whatever it is, that be more stubborn, more bossy, more prideful, more uh whatever, like, or like, you should just keep putting in the work and effort, and I just kind of get and indulge in it, and I don't really, kind of not being a more active participant in a way. Or, and I think I can do these things because I don't think you'll leave, because I don't think you'll love and believe in yourself. You could look at the gift as like you had a dream you wanted to come into reality, and I don't think you'll end it. So then I think, and that's shadowy energy, right? Well, now that I maybe created this illusion and I acted these certain ways, well, now I kind of want to act in these more immature ways. I think we're going to have to look at the bottom row and see it's some cards that they were hiding. So the way I would interpret this is some of the people who are like that in the world, they're kind of hoping, to meet people who haven't met someone like them before. And that is all this process of us growing up in the world, that we're going to run into more shadowy, immature, manipulative, stubborn, prideful, whatever type of people, right? And it's gives us the choice. Is this your truth? If it is, hey, you can stay in a relationship with them. But you've maybe started to realize that this person was hiding, that they might harness these energies in a more shadowy way. And you have the free will to decide if you are willing to deal with the truth or not. So let's go see what those cards are. The despair, the courtship, and the fortune teller. So in shadow, I kind of view the fortune teller, if it was up in the top row or the bottom row, I would kind of view it as kind of our intuition, but we can have a more shadowy intuition. We can listen to that little voice in our head that is more either loving and encouraging and supportive, or more defensive, self-indulgent, right? Some people haven't worked through some issues in their past emotionally, and they may never plan to work through them. So it is going to keep affecting them until they're willing to kind of offer love to them. You could look at the courtship as like a Two of Cups card. Until they're willing to offer love to those regrets of the past, of their own disappointments with people in their life that they could have grown up with in different life experiences, it's going to stop them because they have their back turned to love and listening to their intuition. And they don't realize that if they keep indulging themselves in thinking, no, 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 I don't have to deal with that. I'm just going to get in a different relationship, go find a different job, go get a different friend, whatever, that they keep thinking, I don't have to deal with that. But they're kind of, it's there regardless. It's impacting the decisions that they make, like in their self-protective, self-defensive nature. And it's kind of like that's more what they've aligned with, because again, high vibe energy is in the death card, freeing yourself from things that manipulate you. But you have to be inspired within yourself to love yourself, to believe that I can free myself from it. But it takes a lot of work and effort. And when I work through it, and it's no longer kind of blocking my intuition, I might see more about the people in my life who might show and present themselves to me as loving, and in their own way, they can love people and other people can love them. But, they don't see how their own more immature, shadowy nature keeps them repeating this old pattern. They could have other people in their life that they align with, friends and family members that they could be more codependent on, who they don't want to see the truth, that maybe some of those people don't want them to be more independent and live their more authentic life. No, let's do this, and I live my life like this, and you should live your life like that. Don't do that. Don't align with those people. Don't be more bold and brave and confident. I didn't do that, and I have my life, and I live like this. If you go do that, that could bother me. And I don't even want to deal with it. So I might try to use the love that you have for me to try to manipulate you. And then they in turn get manipulated by those things within themselves or other people in their life. And basically they're codependent on thinking for sure if they make life more about them or their self-protective nature that they'll be happy, or if they align with the people in their life who they're maybe not seeing the truth of, could be kind of manipulating them for their own purposes. Loving people can get in relationships with people who present themselves as loving and like they want the best for them, but they really don't. Nothing's going to change. It's always this elusive thing that will happen one day. And they're like, well, why aren't we moving forward? And, I'm just not wanting to see the truth. And other people, can I have people in my life I love? Friends, family, adult children, blah, blah. Yeah. People at work that I like. But am I going to keep investing more time and energy and effort into you and hide the fact that the despair card reminds me of the Five of Cups? And this one's like the Five of Pentacles, and the fives can talk about change. Some people did the work to free themselves from the past. I'm ready to move forward and have a new beginning. I've worked through some of those issues so those things don't manipulate me like they used to. I accepted the gift. I offered love to it, and it transformed my life. I do have more hope and faith and belief in myself and in others and in love. And the other people are like, well, I haven't done that yet. And I kind of turn my back on my more hopeful, believing, loving nature and listening to my intuition, because either that would require me to quit making it more about me, quit making it where I get to be more indulged in a relationship, or it would require me to become more independent of some people in my life that I'm codependent on, or the world at large that I'm codependent on. Because I think it's more important to have a certain status or image in the world, and I'm worried about what people would think of me instead of just living my more authentic life from truth and love. So let's go see what's coming up. For the people who harness some high vibe Gemini energy, this can be offering love. This can be offering the truth, communicating with people in your life. I am moving forward in truth and love. I'm not going to repeat some of these old patterns. And if you're repeating some of those patterns and you want me to keep moving forward with you, kind of indulging you in those ways that you somehow think are just and fair, I don't. And I'm not going to keep indulging you in that way. If you want to move forward with me, we can still see each other, see at Christmas. I can still be a loving and encouraging person in your life. Do I want to spend more time and effort with you? No. If they keep repeating these old patterns. And some of the shadowy people right now could be trying to present themselves in the world, hiding the fact that, some people left their life because they were kind of hurtful and unkind, and they tried to maybe emotionally manipulate people or intimidate and control people, wanted to be indulged, and some of the loving people in their life listened to their intuition and they were inspired to move away from them. And they don't want people to know that, because now they're trying to find someone else to move forward in a relationship. And then because they have this underlying philosophy of life that it really should be more about them, or they don't really want to grow and heal and mature themselves, they don't really want to do love, they'll repeat the same pattern with someone else. And some of those people who went to go repeat that pattern with someone else could be experiencing the same thing. Some of the people in their life are trying to get them to move forward, and they're like, I got these issues and things that manipulate me, or I don't really want to do love. Can't we just keep moving forward in it and kind of letting me be immature or just indulging in it? It looks good, maybe by worldly standards, isn't that good enough? It's like settling for the illusion, but they want to be in a relationship with people who are like the real deal. And the people who are the real deal are like, no. If you're not motivated and inspired to be inspired by love, to put in work and effort to heal and act with character and integrity and high vibe Taurus energy, then I wish you peace and love, but I'm leaving. And some of those people are going through it again. And as the high vibe people move forward with the people in their life who do work together with them in a loving and encouraging way, and they're moving forward and meeting new people and getting to know them, that can be Virgo and Taurus, kind of getting to know people in the world. And the difference, kind of viewing this, I don't know why, but generally I kind of think of Virgo as the Eight of Pentacles, and this is the Five of Pentacles. The difference between the two, the Eight and the Five, is the Three of Pentacles. Getting to know people to kind of find out what kind of foundation they operate from. And seeing, oh yeah, you kind of repeat some of these patterns. Okay, yep, I see the truth of it. And I keep moving on. Can I still work with you and get along with you good enough? Yeah. Are you someone I want to invest more time and energy into? No, because you've already shown me that you're kind of, got some lessons to learn in life. And I'm going to focus more of my attention on the people who do seem to have accepted the gift of love to grow up and mature themselves, who work together with people more inspired by truth and love. Because the high vibe people work through these issues and they got inspired to stand up for themselves and love themselves, to put in that work and effort to detach what they needed to detach from, become independent of what they needed to become independent of, and offer their own like inner child nature love to stand up for themselves and what they believe in. And they transform their life and they shed an old way of being and they've moved forward in life differently. And we meet people like in tarot, they can talk about it like it being at different timelines, which can be, just kind of different emotional maturity levels. And it's like, oh, that's too bad. But I accept the truth. I'm no longer going to get my ego. Could I have liked you? Could I have enjoyed your company? Could I have been attracted to you? Yeah, but I'm no longer trying to change people. That can take years and decades. When we look at any of the things in our life, habits, and ways of being and growing up and maturing ourselves, that can take years. You know, I wish you peace, but if I get in a relationship with you, well, then they even have less incentive to change. It's kind of like you stay in the friend zone, and I'm going to focus more of my attention on people who already are kind of more mature or tempered in their ego. Let's go see what's coming up for people who aren't some high vibe Gemini. And I think high vibe people have detached from what they needed to detach to. They're offering truth and love to people in their life and people they meet to move forward with them in this way. Some of those people will, some of those people won't. And I think as you move forward, when we quit investing more time and energy into the things that aren't the things that are moving our life forward in the right direction, it's going to open us up to meet people who are more. We're going to still meet shadowy people because they just exist in the world. And we're going to go through periods of feeling left out in the cold, but we keep offering ourselves. Our love and the truth keeps us from repeating those old patterns, and we keep accepting the gift to keep moving forward. The Strength card, why? Because of the Five of Wands. So the Five of Wands, again, is that your foundation, the Five of Wands comes after the Four of Wands. You know, you were doing this, and then kind of look at Sagittarius is like the Eight of Wands. You know, you kind of realize that the foundation you operate from, and again, what kind of drives and motivates you, was different than some of the people in your life. And so you kind of went from the Eight of Wands down to the Four of Wands and realized your dream couldn't come into reality with some people because the driving factor of what drives and motivates them wasn't love. And even though it caused you inner conflict, you did this work within yourself. And again, the fives talk about change. You've changed because you were inspired in the Strength card to get out of your ego about the fact that everybody has the free will to live their life whatever way they want. And if their truth isn't your truth and their idea of what's just and fair is different than your idea of just and fair, you saw the truth of it. And High Vibe Leo, also represented by the Sun card, you weren't willing to keep staying in denial of the truth. You wanted the justice you deserve. So I need to detach from some people in my life, and I need to move forward. And I believe that, you know, life is about learning these lessons. And when we temper our ego and we temper our fear and we learn to be loving and encouraging and get out of more self-indulgent or codependent energy and indulging other people in poor behavior, you know, it's kind of like a gift we give ourselves, and it's kind of like we get to move forward to the next phase of life. And so you could kind of look at the gift card as the that you completed a cycle is the Death card, and you get to have this new beginning because you learn the lesson you're meant to learn from that particular cycle in your life. And as you go through this process, it is changing you, and you saw the truth and you offered love to it. You offered love to them, yourself. But I'm not going to keep indulging people in poor behavior. You have your truth, I have my truth, and I am going to take action on my truth. And they take action on their truth. And as time kind of goes by, you know, you more clearly see the truth of what their truth is, and it's not your truth. And the whole situation helped you. I view High Vibe Leo kind of like the mother energy of being loving and encouraging to yourself, giving yourself the things that you wish other people would have given you, tempering your own fears, your own insecurities, your own lack mentality to keep moving forward. And as you do that, as time goes by, you aren't the same person that you were. You have changed. And you know, you realize, kind of get out of your ego that I can't change other people. I can offer people truth and love, but they have to make that decision within themselves. And I'm not going to stay in my ego about people who choose not to do that work within themselves and choose to keep repeating this old behavior. They're maybe going to have to go learn some lessons the hard way. And you're going to go on this new journey while they go repeat an old pattern. So what's coming up for some people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Gemini energy that they might not see coming? Oh, and this card that you can be surprised about is that there can be a lot of people who don't like it. The Five of Wands can be people arguing and fighting and kind of competing with you and within yourself, because again, we live in a world of duality. Your own shadow nature doesn't want you to do that. Your own shadow nature doesn't want you to give birth to anything new. At the big picture, kind of shadowy energy represented by the devil. Make your life about these things of the world. You don't have to put in work and effort. You don't have to temper your ego. You don't have to grow and heal and mature yourself. Just go indulge in these things or make your life about these things. You'll be happy. High vibe energy at the big picture, represented by God, wants you to heal and grow and mature yourself. So everybody doesn't keep repeating these old patterns and we can give birth to something new. And you can grow into the person you were kind of meant to grow into. And when other people are kind of changing, there will be resistance within yourself and from other people trying to stop you. And as you're moving forward, you could encounter different people that, like, no, 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 you should indulge me. I want to be the next person to be indulged in a relationship with you. Let's not change. Can't I maybe offer you these dead things of the world that aren't really inspired by love? Don't you want these things? Don't you want to be in a friendship or relationship? I'll be in a friendship or relationship with you. It's just that it's dead, which is what the death card can talk about, which can be, it's more superficial and shallow. It's the same old shit. Nothing transformative about it. Not willing to take inspired action to temper their fears, their ego, to step out of their comfort zone, to get in a relationship where you let love and intuition guide you instead of your fear and your insecurity and all those other things. And you're going to see some people who try to get you back in that old pattern. It's like, no, thank you. I wish you peace, but I'm moving on. So the more egoic and competitive people are that wanted you to indulge them, the more those people have a problem. And then there's other people in the world that have already went through this. They've moved on ahead of you in life. And they're sitting here like, is anybody else going to come up the path of life and get out of these bad jobs, friendships, and relationships? I've been waiting to make an offer to someone, but all I see is people repeating this old pattern. And they're looking for people to come up the path of life that are more on the same page as them. And just like as you are moving forward, you're meeting people, you're looking for other people who've kind of learned some of these same lessons. And then you meet those people, you come together with them. It's like, I'm going to leave that job. Nope, these people, nope, this isn't for me. And then just like you go get in different jobs, you go get in different friendships, transfer departments, hang out at different locations, it opens you up to the opportunity to meet other people who are more on the same page as you. And you could have a new beginning with some people in some capacity. Could be work with people who are loving and encouraging and supportive. It could be in friendship and relationship. But looking for the people who are more inspired by to be authentic and loving versus more immature or something. What's coming up for the shadowy people they don't see coming? The Six of Pentacles, the Nine of Swords, the Fool card, the Eight of Swords, and the Star card. And the reason is because of the Star card. I have two mini decks combined here. Well, the shadowy people sometimes they want to be in a relationship. The Six of Pentacles of Taurus energy, they want jobs, they want friendships, they want relationships, they want those things that other people have. But in the Nine of Swords, and they're Gemini, and the Eight of Swords is Gemini, they really have a lot of fear about taking a leap of faith, having some hope and faith and belief in themselves, having some hope and faith in belief in others. If it's love, having hope and faith and belief in love. And to go from the 9 down to the 8, they'd have to let go of this way of living life or viewing life, which could be, oh, I'll just stay where I'm at, or I'll just stay in this friendship or this relationship or this job. I'll just keep doing what I've been doing, or making it more about me, being in a more transactional relationship, staying defensive, operating more from pride and ego. Because if they were to do the Eight of Swords, it would maybe be more listening to their intuition and looking at life from a higher perspective, putting things in perspective. And they might be people who really get caught up in their head. Again, might like to live more from their mind than their heart instead of listening to their intuition. So they keep repeating this old pattern. Well, the problem is they're going to have some people in their life, friends and family, romantic interests that want to move forward with them. Wish they would quit repeating this old pattern. And eventually some of the people in their life see the truth. You kind of keep repeating that old pattern. That seems to be your philosophy of life. It either has to be more about you want to be in a more transactional relationship, you're more about looking like a shining star in the world, you're more about the ego or the image or the status than listening to your intuition and having some hope and faith and belief and love. And some of the people in their life kind of are maybe going to tell them that they've looked at life from a higher perspective. They've kind of gotten balanced about it. They've thought about it. They did some of this work within themselves. And though they're kind of in a little bit of a mental prison about it, they have a dream. And it seems like their dreams are different. And some of those people are going to leave their life to go find people in the world who are more on the same page as them. And the shadowy people will again maybe be sad, that other people listen to their intuition and have hope and faith and belief in themselves more than they do, or aren't just willing to stay in a relationship because of the ego and the image and the status, aren't willing to indulge them. Damn. Why do those people listen to their intuition? Why do those people love and believe in themselves? Why aren't they willing to do this type of relationship with me? I think this is just and fair. I don't want to be more authentically myself. I don't want to change. I'm happy being in the relationship. Well, the thing is, sometimes, like I say, shadowy people like to be in relationships with people who are loving and nurturing and supportive too, but that's not really, authentically loving. But that's not the truth of who they are. And eventually that's going to probably be the people they're going to end up in a relationship with. Because they're not willing to listen to their intuition and love to guide them. And so the loving people move on. And they could think, no, I want to be in a relationship with someone else who lives more from their mind than their heart, who also might have mental conflict about loving and believing in themselves. And then we can get in a relationship and we can both not deal with our regrets of the past. We can both live more from our mind than our heart. We can both be motivated to be in the relationship because it looks good by worldly standards and we don't really want to do love and we don't want to work through these issues from our past. And that would be a just and fair relationship. But they might be hiding sometimes that they're in relationships with people they don't really even want to be in a relationship with. That, that person, you have to be willing to temper your ego to learn lessons in life. Well, they're unwilling to temper their ego to see kind of what would benefit them or what would be good to let go of. And then they get in relationships with other people who can be the same way. And they both could do things that are more kind of immature and hurtful and unkind. Because if you're not being authentic and loving. You're in the relationship for other reasons, and you're basically kind of trying to manipulate and control each other or equally indulge each other so you don't leave. So it's just they had the opportunity to free themselves from things that manipulated them, and they chose not to. And everybody kind of holds the key to free themselves from their own birdcage. But some people have no interest of spreading their wings and flying. This is good. I want to do this. And other people are like, oh my God, you keep wanting to do that like forever. Do you never want to step out of your comfort zone? Are you never inspired to do anything different? I can't live my life like this. And I can't make my life just more about indulging myself or about the ego or the image. I want to live my more authentic life where it's not more about those things. So, you know, we all have free will to manifest our idea of the dream life. And some people weren't willing to make it just about indulging in things of the world. They're more inspired to maybe, I'm going to go offer love and truth and inspiration to people who are open to it and want to work together with me in that energy. And some of these people aren't. So I wish them peace, and they can do what they want to do. And I'm going to go do what I want to go do. So there you go, Gemini. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.